Lexus is evaluating a diesel-powered version of its mighty LX 4-wheel drive, providing a more fuel-efficient V8 alternative to the V8 petrol-powered model currently available. The LX 450D, a name Lexus has already trademarked for Australia, would be the first diesel-powered Lexus to be sold here. Lexus Australia Chief Executive Peter McGregor told Drive the luxury maker had approached its dealers to ask if there would be demand for a diesel version of the LandCruiser based off-roader. "We are looking at it from a steady point of view," said McGregor of the car that Lexus has previously evaluated locally. The big appeal with a diesel engine is its torque, great for towing, and significantly lower fuel use. In the flagship LandCruiser Sahara, the V8 diesel uses a claimed average of 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers, some 34% less than the 14.4 L/100 kilometers of the Lexus LX 570. But there's a catch. Despite being based on a Toyota LandCruiser and sharing its basic design with the 8-seat LX 570, the LX 450D would seat only 5 people. The LandCruiser sourced 4.5-liter twin-turbo diesel engine is heavier than the 5.7-liter petrol V8 used in the LX 570. That extra weight means the LX 450D would not be engineered to carry 7 or 8 people. Yes, the LandCruiser Sahara uses the same engine and has 3 rows of seats, but the LX gets more luxury kit, adjustable high air suspension and a better sound system with more speakers, for example, all of which get it closer to the GVM, or gross vehicle mass, that is the maximum the car was engineered to carry. So Lexus, with the LX 450D, would likely remove the rear seats and instead offer the car as a 5-seater. The 5-seat LX 450D is already available in Russia and New Zealand, so it should be relatively easy to send some to Australia. McGregor said whether the LX 450D would be sold here would come down to demand and whether there is a customer requirement for a vehicle like that where they would appreciate the diesel engine but without the 5-seat configuration. He added that if the car had 3 rows of seats it would be a done deal, such as the demand for diesel powertrains in large SUVs. "If I could match the specification of the LX 570 with a diesel there wouldn't be much of a study to be undertaken," said McGregor. "It really comes down to, in the specification we can bring it to market in Australia given the constraints that we're under, is there a market for it?" McGregor said initial response from dealers was varied. "In conversation with our dealers we have a mixed response. Some people were enthusiastic for it, some people thought the 3rd row of seats was critical," adding that he thought there could be a market for the car. "I'm not convinced yet that 7 seats is mandatory, but the initial feedback from some of our dealers is that it was." While 3 rows of seats is popular in many family SUVs, including the Toyota Prado and LandCruiser, the reality is the luxury end of the market doesn't lean on it as heavily. The large, real, Range Rover is the LX's prime competitor, for example, and it is only available with 2 rows of seats. The Range Rover Sport and Land Rover Discovery have up to 7 seats. And many people buying a car such as the Lux diesel often need it for towing or space for 5 for long-distance cruising. Another issue for the LX 450D is pricing. It would no doubt be more expensive than the $120,590 LandCruiser Sahara, but, given the positioning of the LX 450D in markets such as New Zealand, would logically need to slot below the $140,500 price tag on the LX 570.
Lexus Australia is currently investigating demand for a diesel version of its flagship SUV, to sit alongside the current V8 petrol LX 570. Despite being available in overseas markets, including New Zealand, and the popularity of diesel engines in large SUVs in Australia, the LX 450D hasn't been seen as the right fit for Australian buyers, despite Toyota selling both petrol and diesel variants of the LandCruiser 200 that the LX is based on. Peter McGregor, Lexus Australia CEO, revealed to TMR that the brand has been in touch with its dealers to see if demand exists for a diesel-powered variant. "We are relooking at it from a study point of view," McGregor said of the diesel variant, which has been evaluated but passed over for Australia previously. A diesel variant would bring a massive improvement in fuel consumption, improving on the 14.4 L/100 km official fuel figures for the LX 570 and settling much closer to the 9.5 L/100 km figure of the LandCruiser Sahara diesel V8. While a diesel engine sounds like a natural fit for the LX range, a potential Australian-bound version wouldn't match the specification of its petrol-powered sibling, being restricted to 5 seats instead of the 8-seat configuration of the LX 570. The reason for the reduction comes down to weight, with a heavier diesel engine impacting the LX's gross vehicle mass, or GVM, the maximum weight the vehicle has been engineered to carry. Although the related LandCruiser is able to offer 3 rows of seats and a diesel engine, the heavier LX with added luxury features, height-adjustable air suspension, and a more comprehensive sound system tips the scales at a point that means it is unlikely to keep its full seating capacity. Overseas markets including Russia and New Zealand have opted to take the LX 450D in its 5-seat configuration, but Australia was still being cautious, with McGregor explaining, "If I could match the specification of the LX 570 with a diesel, there wouldn't be much of a study to be undertaken. It really comes down to, in the specification we can bring it to market in Australia given the constraints that we're under. Is there a market for it?" Dealers haven't been unanimous in their support of a 5-seat LX, despite other luxury SUVs like the flagship Range Rover only coming with 5 seats. Some people were enthusiastic for it, some people thought the 3rd row of seats was critical, McGregor said. "I'm not convinced yet that 7 seats is mandatory, but the initial feedback from some of our dealers is that it was." Pricing could also be a sticking point for the new model, which would be priced above the $120,590 8-seat LandCruiser Sahara, but as per the example of New Zealand would need to fit in underneath the $140,500 price of the LX 570 to reflect its difference in equipment.
Porsche on Friday unveiled a new 911 GT Tour S. The 700 horsepower track superstar is the fastest, most powerful 911 in the nameplate's history. It's even tipped to be faster than the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, which currently holds the Nürburgring production car record with a time of 6:52.01. Porsche is expected to build just 1,000 examples of the car, and given the way these limited edition cars have been appreciating in value in recent years, 1,000 Alpine Lex are almost certainly accounted for. But it's not just a limited edition car the lucky few signing up for the GT2 RS will receive. Porsche is including a limited edition watch as part of the deal. Porsche turned to its Porsche Design Lifestyle and Accessories division to craft a special watch for the car's owners. The resulting watch is called the Porsche Design 911 GT2 RS Chronograph, and it's the first watch from Porsche Design whose clock movement was developed in-house. The process took over 3 years. Housed within a titanium case, the movement's caliber 01.200 includes a flyback function, a load path optimized movement bridge, and an official COSC certificate of authenticity. Naturally, there are also elements inspired by the latest GT2 RS. These include the tungsten winding rotor, which is modeled on the wheel pattern of the car, the displays that match the design of the tacho, and the clock face, which is made from carbon fiber, just like some of the car's body. Deliveries of the GT2 RS commence in the 4th quarter. It arrives as a 2018 model and is priced from $294,250.
The new Porsche 911 GT2 RS was revealed during this weekend's Goodwood Festival of Speed. This new monster of a car features 700 horsepower, being able to cover 0 to 60 mph in just 2.7 seconds. Its top track speed is 211 mph. The Porsche 911 G2 RTS starts at $293,200.00 MSRP, but there's good news: you will be able to drive it in the virtual environment of Forza Motorsport 7 too. In fact, publisher Microsoft and developer Turn10 shared 7 new stunning 4K screenshots of the Porsche 911 GT2 RS in the upcoming racing game. 2 months ago, it was announced that Porsche cars would be featured in future Forza titles at launch. Detlef von Platen, member of the executive board responsible for sales and marketing at Porsche AG, said at the time, "By having Microsoft as our partner, we have the opportunity to take the pleasure of driving a Porsche and making it an experience in the virtual world. Racing games and esports connect the real and virtual worlds and enable us to gain further access to the young target group. It means that they can develop a passion for Porsche even before buying their first sports car." As a reminder, Forza Motorsport 7 is due to launch on Windows 10 PC and Xbox One on October 3, 2017. Being an Xbox Play Anywhere title, it will come with full cross-buy and cross-play functionality between PC and Xbox One. On Xbox One X, it will run at native 4K and 60 frames per second while also sporting support for high dynamic range displays.